Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parent Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Greedy Karen at my wedding eats our pasta salad out of the serving container, gets kicked out. After that, the worst camping trip ever with my entitled nieces from heck. Warning, this will infuriate you. And after that, not pay me for the website I built? Say goodbye to your business, house, and reputation. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen does not get any pasta salad. You've taken this too far, Reddit boy. So please smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Greedy Karen at my wedding eats our pasta salad out of the serving container, gets kicked out. We got married recently, and I wanted something super laid back and casual. I hate a lot of stuff about wedding culture, so we decided to get married by a forest on some land that my granddad owns. It turned out pretty good, except the heat wave. We're going through a heat wave right now. But I was a little worried about my husband's side of the family complaining. They have more money than my side and are used to nicer things. Mother-in-law complained about having to bring her own chair or blanket, but my husband shut that down immediately. Our rule was no set guest list. I didn't care if extra people came, as long as they brought food and drinks. It was a potluck, and we asked for food instead of gifts. The more food, the more tag-alongs you can bring. Mother-in-law gave us a gift card to a grocery store for a couple hundred, brought a couple boxes of desserts from a local bakery, and brought a giant vat of this amazing pasta salad she makes, so she was totally in the clear to bring some people. She came over with her boyfriend, his brother, who was in town visiting, brother's wife, and a friend. When mother-in-law got there, she asked my mom about where to put stuff and wasn't happy with our accommodations. Mother-in-law thought it was unsanitary that we had no way of keeping food cold, but my mom told her it would be an hour at the most and it was fine. Mother-in-law also claims there were flies getting into other people's food, but I was getting dressed and didn't see that. Now for some background. This pasta salad mother-in-law makes is one of my favorite things in the world. During the ceremony, I looked over and her boyfriend and her friend were eating some of the pasta salad out of the container. That is unsanitary, obviously, so I confronted them right after, and her boyfriend said he really wanted some of the pasta salad and didn't want to die after leaving it in the provided conditions. Now her boyfriend is typically a drama queen, so I wasn't surprised, but angry and disappointed. I said since bringing people was linked to bringing food, the two of them had to leave because they took away from the food supply. Mother-in-law got mad and said I was ruining her son's wedding for her. They ended up not leaving because my granddad wouldn't kick them out. My mom even took mother-in-law's side and said that I was causing a scene. There is still annoyance on both ends, so I just wanted some clarity. Well, what do you think? Is OP the jerk or not? Please let us know. I think OP just likes her pasta salad. Nothing wrong with that. You touch my pasta salad, I'd do much worse. The worst camping trip ever with my entitled nieces from heck. Warning, this will infuriate you. I left for a camping trip this morning with my nieces and my daughters. My daughters are 3 and 5. My nieces are 6, 8, 14, and 16. My sister lives 3 hours away and drove them to my house last night so we could leave early this morning. We are an hour away from my house. The trip was supposed to be until Saturday. The 14 and 16-year-olds haven't been listening at all. They feed off of each other. They've been talking back to me non-stop. They swear at me, give me an attitude. This is mainly about them. When we got here, I told them to watch the younger kids while I set up the camper, picnic table, and chairs. They took my kids to the rocky part of the river nearby and they were swimming in it. They were not watching the younger ones, but splashing around with each other. I had to go get the younger ones and they couldn't understand why I would be upset. This was for about 5 minutes, but in that 5 minutes, someone could have been hurt. I told them this and they said, "Then why don't you watch them?" and walked away laughing. They were making TikToks for a while and dancing in ways they shouldn't have been. Got my daughters involved when I specifically said I didn't want them posted online. They refused to delete the videos and told me it's their TikToks and they can post what they want. I've also seen them take pictures and videos of me when they think I can't see them, and they're laughing about it. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm also on TikTok. Then they took the younger ones for a walk around the campsite while I made lunch. They tipped over empty porta potties. My 5-year-old told me about it. loudly yelled things they had no business saying, had the younger ones doing it too, just being obnoxious. They also were littering and left their gum wrappers wherever they were standing and threw their empty soda bottles in the woods. Took them mini golfing this afternoon. They broke the golf clubs on purpose and threw them into the woods and thought that it was hilarious and called it ghetto golf. Making TikToks, laughing about it. I had to pay for them breaking the golf clubs. They didn't care. Swimming was a mistake too, since they kept purposely splashing the younger ones in the face. Dinner was a disaster, since they were making jokes they shouldn't have been with the hot dogs, and lied about going to the bathroom and took the ketchup bottle with them and sprayed it on the side of my camper. They refused to wipe it off, so I had to do it. They were singing inappropriate rap songs when I tried to have a campfire, and when I told them to stop, they mocked me and continued. They lied about leaving their bug spray in the camper and took their s'mores and smeared it on the inside of my blanket, which I found out about later, and dug their feet into my mattress and left holes in it and put chewed gum onto the back of the door. They wanted to go to the park after dinner, and I went with them. They wouldn't let the younger ones have a turn on the swings and tried to kick me when I told them to give them a turn. We have been in this camper trying to sleep for the last 2 hours, and it's been heck. It feels like I'm in a boat, and these two won't stop moving around. They keep taking the lantern and going to the bathroom, coming back, giggling, making fart noises, fake loud snoring, and trying to scare the younger ones by saying they saw a pack of bears outside the camper, and now they're scared to sleep. Those two think it's hilarious and already told me they aren't sleeping tonight, and they'll stay up all night and I have to deal with it. I told them, keep it up and you're going back home tonight. I'm not putting up with this for the rest of the week, and they just laughed and told me to go forget myself and cry about it. So I just called my sister and told her that she needs to come pick her kids up tonight. We are coming back tonight. The 14 and 16-year-old are not listening to me at all, destroying my camper and teaching my kids bad things. It's a shame I have to cut this short, but I refuse to put up with this crap for the rest of the week. The two overheard me call their mom and say, "You're wasting your time. She doesn't care what we do. You should know this by now. We can do whatever we want and we get whatever we want." And they started laughing. Sister got mad at me and told me she drove 3 hours to drop them off yesterday, and I'm out of my mind if I think she's driving 3 hours to pick them up tonight or tomorrow. I said, well, we are coming back tonight. She told me there's nothing wrong with her kids, they're just teenagers having fun, and told me to drive them back to her house if I have such a problem with them. At this point, I might just do that. Drop them off and leave. Ignore my sister for a while. I don't know why she's mad at me when it's her kids that are acting like jerks and ruining this trip for everyone. But I'm the bad guy? If I would have known they were going to act like this, I wouldn't have invited them on the trip to begin with. I haven't seen them in months and thought it would be a nice gesture to take them all camping. Update. After I posted on here last night, around midnight, I contacted my husband. He gets off work around then, and told him everything they did, and he told me to drive them all home. He did not want any of them back at our house, so that's what I did. Of course, I got attitude from the 14 and 16-year-old for calling my husband. "Oh, you called your husband because you can't handle us?" Followed by laughter and other smarty remarks. I grabbed everything that was outside and threw it in the camper. Told all the girls to grab their stuff and get in the van and that I'm not playing games. I will leave whoever doesn't get in this van here in the next 10 seconds. Connected the camper to the van and started driving. On the way back, I smelled strong onions. Neither of them brought or wore deodorant. Pretty sure it was on purpose. They thought it was hilarious that they stunk, as usual. Out of curiosity, I asked if they were planning on showering at all while camping and if they brought soap with them. They said no because they like watching me gag and laughed. I had all the windows in the van open until it started to rain halfway through the trip. When the rain stopped, the windows opened right back up. We made one bathroom/gas stop about an hour into the drive. I pumped gas and told them to take everyone to the bathroom while I did that. After we left, I found out they decided to clog the toilets in the bathroom. They were laughing and watching the TikTok videos they made of them doing. Man, these kids are bad. They were laughing and watching the TikTok videos they made of them doing it. The older two were whispering and laughing in the back seat almost the entire trip, playing inappropriate music, yelling random crap out of the windows, sticking their heads out of the windows, keeping the younger ones awake, shining their phone flashlights at everyone. I kept seeing them sit backwards in my rear view with their feet up, making footprints on the back of the seats or sticking out the window. I was about ready to drop them off on the side of the road. Ended up getting to their house around almost 4. When I went to the front door, it was unlocked. The kids went inside and I did as well, because I wanted to talk to my sister. Sister was on the couch with her boyfriend and I told her what her kids did, and she started laughing. She said that's not the worst they've done. She then started going on, telling me all about them destroying furniture around the house, bullying girls in their grades, making false harassment claims against people at school, making fake accounts of other girls. They both get bad grades themselves, they don't care about school and haven't in years. They broke their younger siblings' toys on purpose. They got kicked out of their local mall for sitting on the escalator railing, drinking and posting it on TikTok. Videos of them mouthing off to the neighbors, just a bunch of crazy stuff. The girls were laughing when she was talking about how bad they were. I asked her why she doesn't discipline them. She said, with an attitude, "You try living with them and you'll see. Nothing phases them." And then she asked me how much money does she owe me. I gave her the receipt for the golf clubs, the cost of a new mattress and blanket. She wrote a check and said here. She then told me I need to leave because she wants to go to bed, and she got back under her blanket on the couch. So I left, and on my way out, the girls took pictures of me and ran upstairs giggling. I got back home around 8:30 this morning. They left footprints on the back seat of my van, chewed gum and boogers on the door, and goldfish crumbs smeared in the seats. My husband cleaned out the vehicle while I slept, and I'm back up, dealing with nasty texts from my sister, her accusing me of mistreating them. She said they told her I had spit at them and done all kinds of crazy stuff I shouldn't have been doing, threatened them and kept yelling at them. I did yell at them, but I did not do any of this other stuff. I just blocked my sister because I'm done dealing with this. She has some nerve, knowing how they behave, to accuse me of anything. I'm over it. If she wants to side with their lies and continue living in a circus, that's on her. I don't know why she gave me an attitude after I asked her why she doesn't discipline them, because they need to be disciplined. They are out of control. She thought it was funny how her kids act. All I'm saying is, my kids will never act like that. Yes, they are young right now, but I will never put up with that behavior. I honestly don't even want my kids around her kids anymore, and I'm glad we live far enough from her that we rarely see them as is. I tried to be nice, and this is what I get. Never again. Have you ever had any relatives who acted like this? If so, what did you do about it? Please let us know. I've got a husband who does. You act all nice on YouTube, but I know your true colors, Reddit boy. Not pay me for the website I built? Say goodbye to your business, house, and reputation. This happened early 2000s. I used to be a freelance front-end dev and a search engine optimization guru. Back then, getting on the front page of Google was pretty simple. Link exchanging was popular, but risky. I never did that, but I did have a single website that had serious PageRank clout due to it being linked as a trusted source, directly from one of the top and most trusted websites in the world. I would use this website for the best clients to get their PageRank and search engine position leapfrogging other, older, and more trusted websites. One day, I was approached by someone I'll call Bob. Now, Bob sold travel packages. He needed to revamp his basic existing website with a complex website built with a pretty tricky back-end coding. I could do the front end, but I had to hire a back-end dev to build the functionality. Bob had a major launch in a month's time, and it had to be ready. I usually ask for a 25% deposit up front, but Bob said no. He was stung by the last dev and wasn't going to lose any more money. Now, from the moment I met Bob, my gut was telling me that this was going to end badly. The problem was, I needed the money, and it was worth quite a lot of money for me and the dev. I skipped the deposit on the promise he paid in full before it went on his server. Bob agreed. For an entire month, we worked day and sometimes all night to get this done in his time frame. With a day to spare, we had it done, and I'd never been so proud of what we had achieved. I was honestly excited to show Bob. The next day, I sent a link to my test server, and he phoned me to discuss it. Bob said everything looked good, but he was worried his server's PHP version may be too old to run it. I assured him it would, but he said he was too scared it won't, and we would scrub our hands of it. We went backwards and forwards, but he was insistent the site had to be uploaded and tested on his server before he parts with a penny. I chatted to my dev. He didn't like it either, but agreed we would upload our work onto his server. Bob gave me the FTP details and server login, and I uploaded the site. I told him it was live, and then nothing. I sent several emails and then phone calls. The emails went unanswered and the phone went to voicemail. Sensing a major problem, I rushed to my computer, fired up my FTP program to delete our work on his server, and access denied. He had locked us out, and the following day he went live with our work. For several days I tried phoning until one morning he answered the phone and said, "Listen, I'm not ever going to pay you, and there's nothing you can do about it." Then Bob hung up. Rage was a good word for my feelings. I was shaking while I still held the phone in my hand. For the next hour, my range of words was growing in complexity. As I sat there figuring out what to do next, it hit me. Revenge will be mine. I registered a new domain name, which was Bob's travel domain name, plus sucks at the end. If Bob's website was called bobstravel.com, I had purchased bobstravelsucks.com. I uploaded our work, basically an exact mirror of his live website, onto my new domain. I used my all-powerful mega PageRank domain to link to my new sucks domain. Within a month, my website jumped above his website in Google for every conceivable search phrase you would use for the packages he sold. No matter what you typed in, my site was the first result, and his was always below mine. During that month, I created a second website, which was Bob's full name with sucks at the end. On this second website, I posted what happened, screenshots of his emails, and warning everyone what a con man he is. Bob had a somewhat unusual first and last name. Again, within a month, my website was above his own personal website. I then forgot all about it. About 4 months later, I get a cease and desist email from a solicitor's firm. A quick Google showed the solicitor's firm was made up and didn't exist. I reply back with, "I'm not ever going to take them down, and there is nothing you can do about it." Every now and then, I'd get emails from people he had conned by taking their money for a travel package, but never booking their package. I'd put those on both of my websites, making sure those juicy important keywords, his full name and company name, were spread across each negative review. A few more months pass, and I get an anonymous email linking to a new domain called My Name Sucks. I'm told to remove my two websites, and he will remove this new one. A quick search, and what do you know? It isn't even on Google. No one could find it. I reply back for a second time with his comment to me. As each month passes, I'm getting more and more people emailing me saying they've been ripped off. I keep adding them to my website. Turns out, the travel agency world is well regulated, and they started an investigation into Bob's company, using my website as their main tool. I get a call from Bob. Bob is not a happy Bob. In fact, Bob is more of a desperate Bob. Looking at this text now, I know you can almost hear the despair and resentment in Bob's voice. Bob pleads and literally begs me to pull the sites down. Not only is he being investigated by the Travel Agency Association, but he had some very important friends that didn't appreciate the bad press he was causing in their circles. He offers to pay me the money he owed me, nothing more, just what he owed. For the third time, and with a massive smile on my face, I say, "Listen, I'm not ever taking them down, and there is nothing you can do about it." Roll on a few months, and I discover his travel company has been removed from all travel associations. No matter what you typed into Google, my website outranked his, and all the bad reviews on my site were the first things his potential customers would see. I crippled his business so badly, it went bust. During the collapse, one of his ex-employees contacted me and told me how hard he had worked to get my websites off the first page. He had registered dozens and dozens of other domains in hopes that some would jump ahead. Little did he know, only the top dozen websites in the world could jump it. Apparently, his property was tied into loans on the failing business, and he lost his house too. It took me just about a year to turn his business from a cash cow to a dead cow. Motto of this story: if you ever think to mess with a dev, don't. Update: many of you are saying I should have taken the money and not pulled the sites down. At that point, it wasn't about the money. He thought he could simply buy his way out of it after pretending to be a solicitor and then trying the same thing on me. Him knowing I didn't care about the money anymore must have driven him crazy, because money was all he cared about. He then knew he could do nothing to stop his business going down, and all he could do was watch it fall apart around him. Has anyone ever tried to con you out of money? If so, what did you do about it? Please let us know. This story made me feel so good. I just love it when bad people are dealt the karma they deserve. Entitled family doesn't want dogs at their picnic at the dog beach. In British Columbia, we're just getting through a heat wave with temperatures up to 40 degrees Celsius in Vancouver. Naturally, we all want to get out and cool off at the river or ocean. At my favorite creek spot for the dog, and one of the few off-leash areas where there's a nice wide and deep swimming spot, a family of 4, without a dog, came and set up a picnic and play area for their kids using most of the shaded space on this side of the creek. They have slightly distanced themselves from the main group of humans and dogs in the hot sun. Since I didn't feel like roasting on the sunny side, I tried to put myself over where I wasn't disturbing them and the dog wouldn't bother the picnic. After about 5 minutes of the dog fetching his ball and bringing it back to me, I can see them eyeing me up, and finally the dad approaches me. Entitled Dad.
Excuse me, but were you planning on being here a while? We came over here to get away from the dogs.
Me. Oh, yes. We come here most days to get away from the sun and cool off. We usually swim and throw the ball for half an hour. Entitled Dad.
Well, we were here first, and as I said, we were hoping to avoid being around dogs with our kids and food.
Me. Well, I'm very sorry, but in case you weren't aware, this is the only off-leash swimming spot locally. And if you go 15 minutes down the river trail, there's actually a no-dogs beach with lots of shade. Entitled Dad repeats himself, slightly more aggressively. Me. Sir, you and your family are taking up all of the shaded bank of the creek and have spread yourselves out in the middle of a dog park. I'm not sure what you'd like me to do, as I have every right to use this area as well. Entitled Dad.
And we have the right to not be bothered by you and your dog while we're trying to spend family time together. Maybe you should find another place to swim.
At this point, I'm hot. It's 35 degrees out, and this guy is acting like he owns the beach. I snap and tell him that I will be using this end of the beach, and if they aren't comfortable around dogs, they should move to the non-dog-friendly beach down the trail. I turn and take a few steps away, and to make it clear the exchange is over, I call the dog to me. He's a good Labrador and very friendly, so he doesn't understand when he's not wanted. But the last part made me laugh. After being glared at for the better part of an hour while the dog swims and plays with the others and I read my book, I decide to move on and have to go by them to get to the trail. Throw one last ball in the creek, and after fetching it, the dog trots by them, pausing to shake all over their chairs and phones. Mom started spluttering, and I just look at her and tell her that there is a non-dog friendly beach just 15 minutes down the trail with a smile. I denied a cop the bathroom code at Subway. So, I was working at Subway a few years ago, and a man came in with his wife and 2 kids. I had all 4 sandwiches started when the man asked me for the code to the bathroom. The policy was you had to make a purchase to get the bathroom code, but by the way he was doing the potty dance, it was pretty apparent this guy needed to go. Obviously, either he or his wife will pay for the 4 sandwiches I've already started. The next day, my boss sits me down and lectures me about how the code is on the receipt for a reason. She watched the tape and saw me give the code to the man and tells me, "I don't care who it's for, whether it's your friend, family, whatever, you name it. You do not give the code under any circumstances." Later on that night, I was working by myself when some guy in a trench coat and greasy long hair comes in the side door and said,
Hey man, somebody got seriously messed up outside.
A long line of customers waited for me while I went around to check. It wasn't the best part of town, so you never knew with people. Anyways, as Trenchcoat Man stated, someone was seriously messed up outside. His face was all hurt and he was just a mess. I called 911 and went back to making sandwiches. Sometime later, a few cop cars pull up and an ambulance. They were doing their business outside, and then one of the officers comes in and asks for the bathroom code. Like 6 hours earlier, my boss told me to not give it under any circumstances without a purchase. I laughed a little and told him what I told all the other customers. "I'm sorry, you have to make a purchase first. You can get a cookie, which is $0, and then it'll be on the receipt." He didn't realize the laugh was really at myself and how awkward of a situation he unknowingly put me in. Nor did I have a chance to explain it before the laugh and the rejection of the bathroom code caused the cop to become straight up furious. He gives me 3 warnings to give him the code. Each time I tell him I'm not going to just give it to him, and the customers are on my side, telling him I'm just doing my job. After his 3rd warning, he shook his head and muttered, I can't believe you're interfering with an ongoing investigation. And he uses the walkie on his shoulder to get some information. About 5 minutes later, one of the cops handed me a phone. I answered, and my manager said, "Are you serious?" Long story short, the cop got the bathroom code and a free bag of chips. Man who doesn't understand refunds calls police on cashier, me, for theft. Hello all. This is my first post on this sub, but I do have a feeling I will be a regular poster now. A little background. I, 20, female, have been working at a local Chinese takeout for the past year. If we had a manager, I would be manager, but our chain of command is boss man, top cashier, cashiers, drivers, cooks. This means I'm regularly tasked with things a manager would handle, such as PIC training, supply orders such as utensils and sauces, and most notably, handling all refunds. On to the tale. Cast. We've got me, and we've got the man who doesn't understand refunds. It's a pretty slow evening on my 5 to 11:30 p.m. shift when man calls to place a delivery order. All is going well until I inform him our standard delivery time, 45 minutes to an hour. Well, he will not have this. "Cancel my order. Too long," he says. "Sure thing," says myself, being sure to remind him that since he had us charge him for his delivery ahead of time, it will be a couple of business days before it actually reflects on his account. This is where all heck breaks loose. Man does not simply demand his money, but screams through the phone that he will be down immediately and that we will be handing him money from the register. Man hangs up as I mentally prepare for his assumed arrival. Man arrives 15 to 30 minutes after our friendly chat and is still just as friendly. He again demands his money, so I attempt one last time to explain that his money is indeed on its way to his account, but to no avail. In earshot of all of our waiting customers, man dials 911 to report a theft at so-and-so Chinese takeout. Of course, the cops speed over. We sit very close to the local police station, and man gets to them first, so I let them chat. Cop then comes to me, explaining he knows the issue now and doesn't need further assistance. I see him go over to man once more, some words are exchanged, and out the door man goes. No register money in tow, thankfully. Not too dramatic of an ending, but the kicker? Cop comes back to me one last time to say, "You wouldn't believe how many grown adults don't understand how refunds work. To you, Mr. Officer, I believe you." Man has yet to be seen/heard from again, and this was approximately 6 months ago. Victory. Am I the jerk for not letting my best friend have her wedding on my property after being uninvited? One of my, 29 male, best friends, Carla, 31 female, is getting married soon. It's only meant to be a small backyard type of wedding, but they've been planning it for a few months now, and originally it was supposed to be on my property. They wanted it because it's private, has lots of open space for the reception, a nice view, and the house could be used for them to get ready and stuff. Of course, I said yes. She and her fiance, Rick, were very happy. Thing is, Carla and I do have a history. We went out on and off in college, but decided to stay friends. Then I met my wife. We got married. Carla met Rick, and now here we are. Now, my wife knows I went out with Carla back in college, and she didn't care. Carla still went to our wedding and everything. I never knew if Rick was told or not. It's not my relationship, therefore not my business to say anything, so I never did. Rick found out recently, and not in the best way. Not sure how, but from what I heard from friends is that one mutual friend told him, no idea why, that we used to date. Not only that, but apparently Carla said a couple of years ago she was still in love with me when she was already dating Rick. Don't have actual confirmation if that's exactly what he was told. All Carla's told me is that Rick was told about our past and he's angry at her for never saying anything. It became quite a drama and we didn't hear back from her for over a month until now. She told me they're going to couples counseling and that the wedding is still on, but Rick requested that I not attend. It sucks, but I totally get why he wouldn't be comfortable. Then I asked the obvious question, where are they going to hold the wedding then? To my surprise, she said they still want it at our place. Rick said so, and in my mind, I'm going, he doesn't want the guy who dated his fiancée years ago at the wedding, but still wants the wedding at his house? My wife and I are expected to just not be at our home that weekend, and I told Carla no. They're going to have to find someplace else since we're not going to simply leave our home to them for the weekend. Not only for safety reasons, but it just doesn't make sense. Rick doesn't want me around because he's not comfortable, but is comfortable enough to have their wedding at my house. They really want their wedding here though, and because of that, I've been bugged by not only her, but also Rick and some friends who think I'm being a petty jerk for not letting them have the wedding here anymore. Honestly, don't think that I am. It just doesn't make sense at all to have to leave our own place for a wedding we're no longer welcome to, and leaving our home totally vulnerable. Still, being accused of sabotaging their wedding, and Rick believes it's the least I can do after everything. Am I the jerk? Well, what would you do in this situation? Would you still let them have the wedding at your house, even though you couldn't be there, or not? Please let us know. I would, but I'd charge them an arm and a leg for it. Please come watch this video next, you won't believe what happens. And join as a channel member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video.